The film begins with a statement that after many years of abduction among the survivors, some are driven to give up the sin of speech. Then, a strange hole appears in a blood-stained door from which a horrific sound comes out. After that, the scene cuts. We now see a dilapidated church where a woman named Mary appears. The scene shifts to Azrael hearing the rustling of trees in the forest. Here she is seen gathering red gooseberries. She senses someone in the forest, which prompts her to leave. She finds someone sitting under a tree near a fire. Immediately, she rushes to the fire and puts it out. The man sitting under the tree is named Canaan, Azrael's friend. She looks around and pushes him as if to scold him for doing so. After that, they both leave the place. Azrael closes Canaan's eyes and presents him with a bracelet studded with red gooseberries. She asks him to wear the bracelet on his hand as a souvenir. At that moment, they hear a whistle around them. Immediately, they start running away and hide behind a tree in the dense forest. Canaan asks her to stay there and goes to look for the impending danger. Azrael also starts to flee from there. Maybe someone is after her life. She stops at a place in the forest where she finds a mute worshiper standing in front of her. Upon seeing Azrael, the mute worshiper starts running after her. Azrael also runs to save her life, but soon bumps into another mute worshiper named Luther, who holds Azrael tightly in his arms, then knees her and takes her away. Azrael sees that the worshippers have also captured her friend. Azrael and Canaan are crammed into the trunk of the car, and Luther whistles for his men to take the captives away. After being expelled from a cult that lives in the forest and believes that speech is a sin, all the cult members, Azrael and her friend Canaan, cut their vocal cords out of fear of the burned ones, demonic humanoid creatures that live in the forest and feed on human blood and flesh. The cult members take Azrael into the deep forest and force her to sit on a chair with her hands tied. Josephine, one of the cult leaders, appears before her. Azrael's leg is cut off with a sharp knife, causing it to bleed. Soon the trees start to rustle and the broken bottles hanging there start to ring. It is an indication of the arrival of evil. Josephine and her followers see the situation around them and move away, leaving Azrael there to be devoured. After a while, everything becomes normal. Josephine and her followers turn their backs and stand in place and start acting strangely. Soon a burned woman appears there, smelling Azrael's blood dripping from her leg. Back there, the cult members continue to breathe strangely. One of the cult members sees Azrael freeing herself. That is why he rushes to her to stop her from escaping. He tries to tie her hands, but Azrael stabs him in the neck, causing him to bleed profusely. The wounded member stumbles towards the burned woman, who pounces on him without any delay and brutally kills him. Josephine and her followers continue to breathe strangely, unaware of the fact that one of their members is being chopped off by the demonic creature. Azrael makes the most of the opportunity and runs away from there. She continues running through the dense forest. Luther and the other cult members look back and find Azrael nowhere around the chair. They descend from the top and see the burned woman stealing a body. Azrael reaches a safer place free from any danger. She washes her wound near a small stream. After that, she goes away and starts bandaging her wound while sitting on a stone. At that moment, a demonic creature arrives there smelling Azrael's blood. She sees him approaching her and gets terrified. She enters a dark cave to save herself from the demonic creature. The burnt one looks into the cave and finds no one there. He returns from there, leaving Azrael relieved. Josephine comes out of the cave and finds tire tracks on the road. She looks left and right and starts following the marks left by the car. She reaches the Silent One's camp. There, she sees a man holding a gun guarding the area. She escapes from the man and sneaks into their camp and reaches the place where Keenan was being held captive. She finds the same bracelet lying there that Keenan gave her. She picks up the bracelet and walks away from there as she senses someone behind the camps. Josephine enters one of the camps where her sick old mother lies, and she takes great care of her. Afterwards, Josephine goes to the dilapidated church where Mary, the spiritual interpreter, stands right in front of the pit. Mary believes that the winds coming out of the pit speak of God's will. Mary listens to the winds carefully after that. She blows out the burning candles placed near the pit. Afterwards, all the cultists start to empty the room. Here, we notice that Mary is pregnant. Josephine approaches Mary, who slaps her across the face. Underneath the dilapidated church, Azrael is hiding. Josephine sees that she has come out of the church. Josephine comes crawling under the church and starts strangling Azrael to death, but Azrael knocks her down by kicking her, which gives her some time to escape from there. Josephine also comes out and starts ringing a makeshift bell hanging there to alert her cultists. Everyone gets ready. Everyone sees Azrael running away from the camp. Azrael reaches the other side of the fenced wires while being chased by one of the cultists. She runs as fast as she can to save herself from the wild people. They try to bring down Azrael but fail, meaning Azrael manages to escape there and continues running without rest. Night falls, and she reaches the depths of the forest exhausted. She lays her head on a rock and unknowingly leaves her blood on it. She moves forward and hears horrific sounds. She looks back and finds a demonic creature licking her blood on the rock she left. The demonic creature soon starts chasing Azrael to devour her. In the blink of an eye, several burnt creatures appear in the forest and start running after her. She emerges from the evil forest and stumbles upon a road where she narrowly escapes being run over by a truck. A man gets out of his truck and asks her if she is a survivor. Azrael is unable to tell him anything as her vocal cord was surgically severed by the cult. She immediately gets into the car and signals the man to get in the car as well. The man who has the mute girl drives away from there during this fateful night. After covering some distance, the man is shot in the head by a cultist, causing him to lose his balance and eventually crash into a wall. In this incident, Azrael is seriously injured and the driver is sitting dead next to her. She gets out of the car and walks forward and then gets down on her knees. In the distance, she finds the cultist who caused her to fall into this situation. She falls on him before he can kill her. The wounded cultist hits her with his gun. However, in this prolonged battle, Azrael manages to shoot the cultist in the head with his rifle. As she goes deeper into the forest, she finds cannon nailed to a tree near a campfire. As soon as she steps forward, she also falls into a trap that causes her to hang upside down. At that moment, Luther appears there, implying that he is the one who did all this to capture Azrael. He grabs his gun and goes to Cannon, causing him to faint. Afterwards, he notices the rustling of the trees, which is a sign of the arrival of the burned. He moves forward to search for them. Meanwhile, Azrael tries to free herself but fails. Soon, Luther is attacked by one of the burned ones, who mercilessly begins to eat his internal organs. Several demonic creatures gather around to prey on Luther and soon kill him. Afterwards, the burned attacks Cannon. Azrael begins to come down from the tree to help him, but another demon appears and begins to force Azrael back. The demonic burner was about to bite her in the neck. Azrael, the angel of death, hangs him from the tree with a rope and sends him to hell. She gets up and picks up a gun lying on the ground nearby. She returns to the cultists' camp. She whistles at them as Luther always does. Some of the cultists come out upon hearing the whistle, due to the fact that Luther is calling them into the woods. They look around but can't see Luther anywhere. So, they head into the woods to search for Luther while Azrael hides behind a nearby tree. After misleading the cultists towards the woods, she sneaks into their camp and starts heading to the church. She opens the door and enters it, pointing her gun at Mary. Upon approaching her, she pauses for a moment as she finds Mary, who is soon to be a mother. This buys Mary some time, and she attacks Azrael, knocking her out. Josephine and her cultists capture Azrael and take her to the grave. On Josephine's orders, the cultists smear her face with blood and then throw her into a coffin and bury her alive. Underground, the coffin was connected to a tunnel. Josephine began to crawl forward, holding a lantern in her hand. On the way, she encountered a burning lantern descending on her. Azrael immediately began to crawl backwards and reached the coffin once again. The demonic creature was ready to devour her, but stopped and retreated after feeling Mary's blood on Azrael's hand. This forced the demon to retreat. The burned creature foretold that Azrael was about to wreak havoc on the cultists' camp. Afterwards, it crawled backwards without harming her. At the camp, Josephine returns with the other cultists due to the fact that Azrael is no longer around. She enters her camp to see her elderly, sick mother. In the woods, Azrael climbs out of the grave unharmed. At the camp, Josephine is seen running towards her camp, which is on fire. She tries to put out the fire while her elderly, dying mother is burning alive inside it. Other cultists also arrive to help her and begin to put out the burning tent with water. In the blink of an eye, all the tents start to catch fire. In this chaos, Azrael also begins assassinating members of the group one by one. Josephine's cult members are killed before her eyes, and she can only watch helplessly. During this encounter, she is also shot by Azrael. Azrael's arrival causes a stampede among the cultists. In the chaos, the wife of one of the cultists is also shot dead, causing him to fall to the ground. He desperately grabs a gun and starts searching for Azrael. He shoots one of his cultists, believing her to be Azrael. Azrael soon comes running from behind and slaughters and decapitates him. Afterwards, she heads to the church with a machete in her hand. She enters the church seeing Mary there. Mary attacks Azrael from behind with a sharp machete, causing Azrael to hide under the benches placed there. Azrael returns to her feet and bites her on the neck, causing Mary to go into labor. Meanwhile, a wounded Josephine enters the church with a gun to help Mary. Upon entering, she begins to shoot Azrael but is distracted by the sight of Mary giving birth to her child. Meanwhile, Azrael attacks her and knocks her onto a bench placed there. At the end of this long battle, Azrael stabs Josephine with a machete, causing her death while hearing the screams of Mary's newborn baby. On the other hand, Mary recoils in fear upon seeing her newborn baby and stands outside. She cuts her throat while looking at her baby. At this moment, all the lit candles near Christ go out by themselves. This means that the real devil has entered this world. In the forest, all the burnt ones also realize that their real master has entered this world. So they also start walking towards the church. Azrael holds Mary's newborn baby in her lap. Now none of the burnt ones try to harm Azrael as their master is in her lap. All the burnt ones start to wail as their master arrives. The newborn baby turns out to be a goat-like creature resembling the Antichrist. Azrael smiles while holding Mary's baby in her lap, and with this creepy ending, this movie